donated $100.
Thank you.
Ladies, what you have to understand is that you currently have the power. Your looks. However, women age very fast. Literally, I don't date over 30. Reject many teens all the time, as I want a marriage, wife, relationship. You either listen or die alone.
Oh, okay. Why don't we? Here, I'm gonna. Can you put? Is that yours or was that mine? Okay, let's just keep it on the ground. That's a perfect segue to. This guy says he doesn't date women under 30. Let's talk about.
He doesn't date women over 30, I think.
Or what? Sorry, I might have missed. He doesn't date women over 30. I think. Yeah. Thank you. That's a perfect segue to talk a little bit about age gap relationships. Allie, you happen to be in a bit of an age gap relationship.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I'm married. My husband is 51. I'm 28. We started dating when I was 25. And he would have been 48 at the time. I am very happy. I don't think that I could have been with a man my age. I think that they're very effeminate, and I understand that there's plenty of reasons why, like both social and environmental. We've been asking men to man down for a very long time, to kind of just do the things that we want them to, and they like believe these things as if they're attractive and they're not. And I just find that Gen X men have a better grip.
Kiko, you gotta scoot like you're not in frame.
I just find that Gen X men have a better grasp on game, you know what I mean? And like something weird must have happened with millennial and Gen Z men. So yeah, I'm mostly in an age gap. I get a lot of criticism about it, like pretty frequently, but I mean, I'm happy. This is the man for me. And also, like, he's pretty attractive as well, in my opinion. Like, other women might see him and not think so, but he was fit for his age as well. And I just think that takes more discipline. Like, I don't care about a 20-year-old man who has like a six-pack. You should, you should. But if there's a 48-year-old man that has a six-pack, I'm like, oh, okay, like that took decades to maintain. So that's pretty much my situation. He's having his first kid at 51, like a whole feminist, and it is what it is. But that's my age gap.
Yeah, you want me? Yeah. I've been on here about age gaps multiple times now. And your situation, I don't see anything wrong with that. You're 25 years old, sound woman, 48. Now, if you would have said, oh, I was 19 and he was 42, then I would have been like, I would be like, was this a relationship you would be in still if you wouldn't have been 19 at the time? Because I just think a lot of things change in those few years when you are of legal drinking age, and you can have more of those experiences as 19 to 25, 19 to even 23. Those things are a very big difference. So 25 to 48, yeah, I would never even blink twice at that.
I don't even think there's anything wrong with a 19-year-old necessarily. Like, are you talking about choosing to date or have sex with? Because young women have sex with older men like more than people are willing to admit.
Yeah, that's not sleeping with. You don't need anything in common with somebody except for both of legal age to sleep with someone, right? Yeah.
Right.
My thing was when I came in here times before, I wouldn't even say, yeah, if you were 19 and he was 43 and it was like, a rare occurrence for him to be dating a 19-year-old, then people meet, shit happens. You could fall in love. There's weirder things happen every day, for sure. But if he was a 43-year-old man and you would be the fifth 19-year-old he's dated, I would have been like, why is he choosing to date only women who are still in their teens? I think that's where flags come, when it becomes a reoccurring thing for older men, because yeah, you can meet people younger and it could be an off chance, but yeah, it is a weird coincidence to me if you are above the age of 40 and you can consistently date people who aren't even of the legal drinking age in our country.
Well, I would say, how dare a man be attracted to a woman who's at the height of her physical attractiveness and fertility?
I didn't say be attracted to, because she said we already established the dating versus sex. I'm saying dating. A man who chooses to date women who are 18 or 19 only, it does put a red flag in my mind of to why can't he date and be committed to women who have more experience.
It's not that he can't.
Than an 18 or 19.
It's not that he can't. It's just, and I think, very few men who are in their 40s, I think, are attractive enough, whether that's physically, of finances, or status-wise, to be consistently dating 18-year-old, 19, 20, 21-year-old baddies. It's just biology.
We never
it's
said
evolution.
they were baddies either.
I wouldn't even say that
They don't have
it's-
to be baddies, but
I wouldn't even say that it's biology, because like attraction doesn't necessarily like work in that particular way. It just doesn't make sense to me how you're okay with an older man sleeping with a younger woman just to get his rocks off versus him being in an actual relationship with her.
I think it's weird too. Yeah, I think it's still weird.
So you think they're both weird?
I think they're both weird, yes, but I think it becomes more of an issue when, they're like seeking a partner only out of it because, if an 18 or 19-year-old woman chooses to sleep with an older man, she's of legal consent of aging. She can do that. He's not, she can make that choice. But when it becomes a relationship, that's how I see manipulation and power dynamics can take play, because a relationship, obviously a lot more goes into it than just hooking up.
Well, I think like a relationship should be more meaningful than sex. Like I just
Exactly.
That this doesn't make sense. Like it's okay for her to give her body away to an older man to use it, but it's not okay for her to give her body away to an older man who takes care of her and wants to be in a relationship with her. Then he has to be manipulative. Like that doesn't. I would argue that there's probably more manipulation to get her in the sack than it is to like have that long-term relationship.
I see your point totally, but maybe because when I'm thinking about it to get her into the sack,
Big Energy donated $100. Older women use the age issue as a cop-out to deny reality. They pretend, even though they themselves screwed older men at that age, because they don't like that biological clock. TikTok. Dated 18, 19-year-olds. They're equally propagandized.
Yo, DBE, thank you for that. Eric, can you pull up that Haram one? I'll just do it just because he probably go for it if you want to pull that one up. Oh wait, should we have to wait? Okay, no, that's good. Harman is live. Thank you for the Canadian 100. Just to be clear, guys, for the TTS, for it to trigger, whether it's through Streamlabs or through YouTube, it has to be, because the TTS is through Streamlabs, it has to be USD. So the reason that didn't come through as a TTS is, and there's no way to differentiate to like change it on Streamlabs for different currencies. So it does have to be. If you're donating in Australian dollars, Canadian dollars, New Zealand dollars, it has to be 100 USD. But you didn't know, so I'm going to read this. I bet, actually, you know what? Kiko, I know you want to read this. Go ahead.
The super chat.
Yeah.
I bet anyone sleeping with multiple men, it becomes second nature to look for multiple men to sleep with. To the guys, you can buy a used car and save money, or choose to marry a used girl/woman and lose 50% or more of your life's earnings in divorce.
Yeah.
Good times. Harmon, thank you, man. Let's continue with the, actually really quick chat. Eric, if you can pull up the pop-out chat really quick. I'm super appreciative of the TTS. It's been slightly distracting the show. It's coming in. Should I bump the TTS for the rest of the show, guys? 1 in the chat if I should bump it, or 2 in the chat if leave it be. Let me know. I mean, maybe the table wants to win.
Please bump it up.
Bump it up?
It's literally every couple minutes.
It is kind of, so 1 in the chat, bump it, 2, leave it. It's kind of looking
it's not even at all. That's multiple ones.
A little mixed.
It's every 2 per 4 ones.
Let's okay. Let's continue on with the conversation.
Yeah.
I'll see how it goes, but I may have to bump it.
Okay. I mean, I think that's just a double standard, right? Because obviously I am a public figure to a degree. I wouldn't say like I'm famous or anything like that. But it's like if I was an older woman and I was married to a younger man, nobody would care, and
I wouldn't say that.
I very much believe that. There's a couple
That's
of people
why cougar
that might care.
exists. And what's the word for a man who seeks?
How is cougar a put down? That's not a put down.
I've never seen someone be thrilled to be called a cougar ever. I would be very insulted if somebody ever called me a cougar.
Yeah, well, that's mostly anecdotal. We just have varying experiences. I just don't see that happen often. I see a lot of the times it's like, yes, queen, you go, girl, which like that kind of age gaps present their own individual issues to begin with. But I think we really shame men for finding younger women attractive when it's pretty standard. Like the age that men find women attractive, honestly, so as men get older, they still find the same age group of women attractive.
We already, yeah.
Yeah, but as women get older, we find men in our age group, on average, between 3 to 7 years older than us, we continue to find them attractive, right? So it's like, if I'm 30 and he's 34, I still think he's attractive. If I'm 40 and he's 44, I'll think he's attractive, just like on average. But like with men, they just consistently find young women attractive.
And you don't think that's weird?
No, I don't think it's
It's
weird.
normal.
I think it's
normal,
completely
Kiko.
That's
It's
just-
normal, Kiko.
it's
But
biology.
I do want.
But that's what it's the biology, because like the only thing you've been able to give me usually is fertility, this and that. Okay, first
Well,
of all, I don't know any woman that's 30 that like it's your time doesn't tick at 30. That's not how it works. Maybe 40, sure, that's when we're getting a little closer. But a 25-year-old woman is not much more fertile than a 30-year-old woman. In those 5 years, that's not what's happening, and that's what's always the evidence being placed in front of me. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being attracted to somebody younger or older than you. I'm just saying it is possible for men who are much older,
Use
women,
P word if you're gonna say it. Just use P word.
even women. I'm saying it's possible. Women, men. I'm just using I'm using men because that's what we're talking about. I think it's very naive to deny that a power dynamic cannot be in place with an older man or woman
Yeah.
and somebody younger. That's all I'm saying. So it's with the people who consistently seek out somebody that much drastically younger, because even a 25-year-old woman is going to look much younger than a 40-year-old man. So like, why does it have to be 18, 19 all the time? Because for me personally, I'm only 23. I don't know everything, of course, but I do know I've grown a lot and learned a lot since I was 19 and being around more adults and more of an adult playing field. I didn't become to be around 30-year-olds and things like that until I was 21. So that's the only thing why I'm like, why? I'm not saying even 21. I wouldn't even blink an eye at 21, but it's 18. I'm just saying the men who are 18 to go up to the 18, 19 year olds.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's reasons why, and I could talk about them. Like, there's some biological theories, don't get me wrong, like about 90% of women's eggs are gone by age 30. It doesn't mean that you can't continue to have children. It just means like you're at your last 10% of your reservoir. But then you run into hormonal issues probably around like...
Ryan the Eating Warrior super chatted $99.99. How do your parents feel about marrying someone closer to their age? I feel like dating that big of an age gap is peak daddy issues.
Oh, like for me? No, I asked my mom. She just said that she didn't think it was going to be... She didn't know that he was going to end up being the man that I married. But I've consistently been attracted to older men. When I was 17, I dated a man that was 24. Our parents knew each other. There wasn't anything weird about it. He was just a kind young man, came from a good family. And that's pretty much how I've always dated. I have dated men that were in my age group, but it's just not something that I consider. I did grow up in a single mother home, but that's not going to stop the fact that, I've just kind of always been this way. Even when I was a kid, right? Like, I thought Brad Pitt was hot. You know what I mean? Like, that's just been my thing.
I still think he's hot.
Yeah, well,
just saying.
I think he's kind of hitting like some type of wall. But I think that's just like some girls. I wouldn't say that that's a majority of girls. It's just been how I am. And I think it's because they tend, like, have you seen how a fit 20-year-old dude looks compared to like a fit 35-year-old dude? How like one kind of looks more like a boy and the other one kind of looks more like a man?
Yes.
Yeah, like that's kind of been like my take on it.
And that's exactly my point I know it's not everybody, but like I said, I'm only 23.
Yeah.
When I was 18, 19-year-old men or older, looking great. Now that the fact that I'm 23, I would say 95% of men that are 18, 19, 20, around those age, look like little boys. And I'm bisexual, so even from a girl standpoint, yes, some women, I would agree we mature faster than men, for sure. But if you can't tell from a girl that she's 18 or 19 by her looks, you'll tell when she opens her mouth. Like, we can all guarantee, like, they didn't even have to tell me. And I was like 18, 19 max, all three of them. They look
Shots fired.
No, it's nothing.
Shots
they
fired.
Just look young. I'm not saying they act young or anything.
Shots
You could just
fired.
tell.
Yeah.
They even have piercing and all stuff. You could just tell they're young. So to me, as a 23-year-old woman, if I can tell these girls who are only 5 years younger than me literally look like they're straight, fresh out of high school, barely know what the world's going on,
but
how
they're
can a
still hot.
45-year-old woman be like, yeah, that's the peak woman, what
Wait.
I want? Like,
Kiko,
I'm not saying they're not
are
women.
you saying
I'm not saying they're not
you're
women,
not
but
attracted
they
to
are.
them?
I'm not saying they're not women,
hold
but
on.
I'm saying they
shut up,
look young.
Shut up, hold on.
Point blank period.
Hold on.
Many women have run through so many men they cannot pair bond. They're insane. Plus, if I'm gonna have a relationship 3+ years before marriage/kids, fertility plays a role in that. You're 23 lol. Hate 19-year-olds pulling D.
Yo, DBE, sorry that we kind of missed a little bit of that. By 30, women have run through many men they cannot pair bond.
This is so silly to
And
me.
No, but that's true.
It's not true though, because there's women. There could be.
Well,
I'm not gonna.
about what she said.
Yes, but she. I don't know her. I don't know what her age
I think
is.
that like
Closer,
the idea.
closer,
No,
closer.
like you're still so she made a statement about pair bonding. I'm saying like it's true. You can kind of mess up your ability to pair bond because it comes down to habits, right? So if you're like constantly having, promiscuous sex, it is harder for you to have that habit of staying committed to one man.
Well,
I just think that the
but
idea
you're-
that it would be harder to be in a relationship with someone in their 30s is very silly, because in my personal experience dating women in their 30s is a incredible experience, because they are more mature, they're more able to have conversations with you, they are more committed to understanding, they know more about themselves. Like, it's been like a win-win-win,
Well-
dating women who are in their 30s.
Yeah, so there's like 3 things happening at once. She was talking about age gaps. Then you talked about pair bonding. Well, he talked about pair bonding.
I didn't say anything about pair bonding. I just said that the comment was silly.
Oh, okay.
Just to be clear.
The comment was about pair bonding, and then it is harder to like stay attracted to a man long term if you do sleep with multiple men. But then you're talking about like your experience as a woman dating other women.
Sure.
Right. Like, of course, that's going to be different than like a man not wanting to date a woman over 30. Like, honestly, like it makes sense why men wouldn't want to date a woman that was over 30, just because. Like there's a little bit of resentment that comes along the way when you are in and out of bad relationships. Or, they don't even have to be bad. They're just failed relationships. I think that there's a little bit of that goes on, but I don't know where you want to take the conversation, because 3 things happened all at the same time.
Yeah, well, since we're kind of primarily talking about age gap, I want to give everyone else an opportunity to weigh in too. Your thoughts on age gap relationships. Let's talk about, maybe Leo could be a good sort of jumping off point.
Age gap. I'm typically attracted to guys a little bit older.
You're 25, correct?
I'm 25.
Okay. And
I've dated a 55-year-old.
Oh.
I've dated a 75-year-old.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you love any of them?
Oh, fuck. Sorry. It's been on me the whole time. Sorry, guys. Eric went to the bathroom.
Did
No.
you did
I'm
you
sorry,
love any
guys.
of them?
I scuffed it.
No.
So you just dated them?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to weigh in on the...
I don't think there's anything wrong with older men being attracted to younger women.
Oh.
I mean, from a biology standpoint, it makes sense. I mean, obviously, not all women lose it fertility-wise when they get older, but statistically, it is the older you get, the less eggs
Progressively.
you have.
Progressively.
Yeah. Not to say, I mean, my personal preference, I prefer older men. Just from a maturity standpoint.
You're 21, right?
I'm 21, yeah.
Can you give us kind of an age range of what you prefer?
I usually date like mid to late 30s.
Yeah,
That's
and this is kind of the other thing, Kiko, is why do older men prefer younger women? Well, we also need to ask, why do women prefer older men? Mm-hmm. That's another side of this coin. Mm-hmm. And I think it happens to be the case that men just like younger women and women like older men.
No, it's because men mature like dirt. They mature slow as hell. So usually we have to
all the more,
reach up. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying...
Mm-hmm.
What you saying?
No, I'm
What you
saying
saying?
this is like this got brought up in the first podcast I got brought
Well, we
up.
got some-
This is like
we got-
my 5th time on here.
We got some new viewers.
Okay, and it's like I just think it's so naive to say. I'm not saying in every instance, in every case, that an older man dating a younger woman. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. The detail that you guys keep losing out, from my opinion, is I'm saying men or women who are over the age of 40, who again and again seek out women or men who are the ages of 18 or 19, are weird, are doing it from probably power dynamic standpoints, is my point that I'm saying. If it's a man who's 43, he's dated a couple of 18-year-olds, so be it, they crossed his path. But a 43-year-old man who's only dated 18 and 19-year-olds, 50-plus men who's only dated 18 and 19-year-olds, how is he meeting these 18 and 19-year-olds? You just don't cross paths all the time. That means he is seeking, or she is seeking out that man or woman of that age. And I think it is for a reason beyond just, oh, they're hot.
Well, I think it really just does come down to that they're hot, because like we talked about it, right? Like, you know, what's really the difference between a high schooler and an 18 or 19-year-old psychologically? Not much, you know? So basically, like, she's a sex object to that man. But I mean, I think that we're just very quick to demonize that, you know what I mean? Whereas like if it was the inverse, and I know that you're saying that it's different when it's with an older woman with a younger man, but there's like some sort of implication usually that these folks are groomed. Like sometimes young women just like the silverback eggplant, you know what I mean? Like they're just into that.
Yeah,
and I think that we don't want to admit that, but you know, like I've had girlfriends, you know, in college that were seeing older men and just didn't tell their parents and sleeping with them too. You're just attractive. I mean,
I don't think she's
yeah.
saying that that's the rule. I think she just wants you guys to acknowledge that it's a possibility, which obviously it is.
Sure.
But
I mean,
Yeah.
it's all-
Don't
that's
say
not the
well,
question.
sure, because that's the times I was on here beforehand. Every single time, it's no, they're just attracted to each other.
But
they're just attracted to each other.
There are some men and hold on.
Oh.
There are some men and some women who are necrophiliacs.
Ew.
What? You're saying the
Brian.
wrong word. That's people who fuck with people who are dead.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Bruh.
Is that, he's talking about
I'm
like
saying
these
there
smaller
are
majority
they
that are
exist.
doing that.
They
Yeah.
exist.
M.
Hold on.
Martin super chatted $100. The only social construct is same-age marriages.
Oh.
School and work group common ages together. It does not correlate with biology. Men can procreate into 80s. Women, around 40. The qualities that women look for in men aren't even achieved until well into their 30s.
So
I disagree.
So like
Why do you disagree?
The person I'm with right now, 23, gonna be 24 soon. I couldn't ask any more of them. Do I say that they're like at their peak prime? No, but for a 23, almost 24-year-old man, he is. And he doesn't have to be 30 to be what I want. He's honestly everything I want, and I'm happy to be with him and by his side at the age of 23.
Yeah, I would say like that's very normal. That's pretty standard. Like I said, like it's like 4 to 7 years, but obviously like we tend to find our own age groups more attractive. So I think you have a problem with people objectifying each other, is what it sounds like, because women make men out to be success objects. So like obviously these young girls that are looking up to these older guys, like they're probably not attracted to him for who he is.
And I would say that's wrong too.
And you would say that that's wrong.
But it's not getting brought up here.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd be happy to talk about that all day long. You know what I mean? But it's just like, I understand what you're saying. I don't think that you're making any, you know, spicy or contentious points. The only thing I would say is like, it doesn't have to necessarily be predatory, because it's equally predatory for these young women to be pursuing these older men if it's not for who they are.
I would agree.
All right.
There's women
Okay.
definitely
We
out
did
there.
it.
Oh, a little
Look.
common ground
More
there.
podcasts later.
There you go.
No, I definitely see what you're saying. I
Yeah.
feel like you see what I'm saying.
Yeah,
too.
we're on the same page.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Okay.
You know, honestly, I'd be suspicious if my daughter wanted to be with a very, very older man. But you know, that's what my husband is for, to stare this man in his eye and be like, "What do you want?"
What exactly? We would it not raise questions to you
Yeah.
if there's a way older man who wants something to do with your young girl? You're like, I know this little girl,
Yeah.
and I know my husband, who is probably, I mean, not for your case, but like my husband would have been only 43
my
10 years
husband would
prior,
still-
and
yeah.
I'm like, what does this 43-year-old have in common with my little 18-year-old baby?
Hold on.
Yeah.
That's the
Hold on.
standpoint I come from.
$100. Kiko Blaza, stop doing that. What you are talking about in your man is rare. Most meaning the vast majority of men are not put together at 23. This isn't conjecture but fact. You admitted this earlier, saying men mature slower.
All right, TMR Radio, thank you there for the $100 super chat. I want to give everyone else an opportunity to come in on this. I think you went a little bit. Do you have any? I don't know if you got to go on your thoughts on kind of age gap relationships.
I don't have much to say about age gap relationships. I think that power dynamics can be toxic if you have a large age gap, which is not to say they always are.
Okay.
It's not a comment on anybody's personal relationship. I tend to date people within 10 years of my own age because I like to meet people based on common interests, which tend to be people closer to my age.
Hold on, the screen's going to get all scuffed here, but we're still going. So what about you? Your thoughts on age gap relationships?
Personally, I like guys like around my own age, but I don't think age gap is like a problem
Sure.
at all.
You said you're 18. What's the oldest guy that you've dated or hooked up with?
21.
21. Okay, so college guys. What about, Sure. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, age gap is fine, but for me, I'm 18. I can't see myself dating someone 23, even 22. I think I'm just not at that stage of my life yet, and then that person would be, and I would feel out of touch and just not there yet.
So you wouldn't date a senior at UCSB, assuming like you were single?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't even, like, they're probably getting ready to step in their career, and I barely have like a minimum wage job. I just don't feel like we can really connect.
Okay, you mentioned career. I'll come back to that. What about you?
I don't really think age matters. Mostly, I think it, like, when you're trying to find someone who you want to be in a relationship with and who you want to, like, you see yourself spending most of your, like, life with and your time with, it, like, matters more on, like, compatibility and, like, where you guys are at in, like, your life in that moment. But, like, personally, I wouldn't see myself dating, like, I'm 18, I wouldn't see myself dating a 40-year-old. That's just not where I think it's a little, like, weird, but, like, that's, like, from me, like, from my perspective, I wouldn't, but I am not judging anybody else who would be in, like, a big age gap, like, relationship.
Yeah, I would say, like, when it comes to age gaps with women, I think young women are less willing to entertain relationships with older men, but they might, like, hook up with one. I think that's a big distinction.
They wouldn't want to have a relationship with an older guy, but they would hook up with him?
I think so. Like, I've just talked to enough women, and I went to undergrad myself, and it's like, you know, like, they might hook up with one, but it doesn't mean that they would be interested in dating one. Because I think these are very, very two different things.
Wait, Kiko, really, one question on this. What's the oldest guy that you've dated?
Probably like 27, maybe 30 actually. Now 31.
30.
Before, I will say.
Or hooked up with?
Yeah, 30,
Okay.
probably 31 at this point.
And
like,
how old were you when?
I put on the math. I've never hooked up with somebody over a 10 age.
The math?
It's probably like 8, because I added their age. They would be 31 now, I'm saying. But before this guy that I've been dating, I honestly didn't picture myself really dating anybody under the age of like 28. Most of my type was usually around 30-year-olds, because that's the people who were on the same playing field as me, I saw, but I found somebody who was on my own.